As I said, welcome to the channel. My name is Lee, he, him today, but you can go with they or she. I'm pretty chill, and we are, so I am doing something a little tricky. So I kept saying all week that when I did my stream, I was going to do, what was the technical term for what I was going to do? Yeah. I kept saying all week that I was going to do Tuesday and Thursday. I was going to do Tuesdays. Let me get to the channel creator dashboard. Here we go. I kept saying all week that on Tuesday I was going to what did I say? On Tuesday, I kept saying all week that on Tuesday I was going to do Warhammer. I know my thing says Pathfinder because I left it up. And I felt bad about that. So I should have, I don't know, I should have coordinated better or something. But, it's okay. So we're going to do Warhammer, and this is what I get for trying to be sneaky. Is that I get nothing. So, that's fair. But hopefully some of you will join me a little later. And, if not, c'est la vie. What I'm going to do is go to... oh, right. This is what we do. I'm going to show you something really cool. What? Okay, that is the Rogue Trader book. I need to rearrange so I don't have to put... Let me just check the dice cam. A little better. I could do a little... There we go. That's a little more centered. Ta-da! A little more centered. Okay. It's complicated because I have to create a setup wherein I can show the cover of the book to kind of give a context, but also so that I can show my dice can't. I don't know how. Alright. So I was going to do a stream today, so I am going to do it. I kept saying I was all week I said I was going to do Tuesday and Thursday I was going to do Rogue Trader on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I had written up the schedule is that I was going to do Pathfinder, and I don't know why. So we're going to do the Rogue Trader tonight. We're going to do go back to the Rogue Trader. Also, fun announcement: I got a job. Honest to goodness, real gainful employment, which is great. Except for the fact where I have to show up and work, because that's what Jacqueline said was the worst part of having a job was that they expect you to show up and work. So that's fun. And the whole deal with that was because of that we I'm starting at 5:30 in the evening, which means that I have to, working at nighttime, which means that I am losing my this, so like I can't do this stream anymore. I'm gonna have to rework my entire stream schedule to fit the fact that I am working in the evenings. But now that I have a job with regular hours, I can begin to structure a streaming schedule around that. So, Mondays are still, I don't know, but, I was just gonna do, Rogue Trader. Welcome. Always good to have new friends, in the chat. My name is Lee, he, him tonight, but, she or they is also cool. I've been working on what's, Rogue Trader. I don't know if campaign is the right word. What I've been doing is character creation, with Rogue Trader, trying to introduce the lore and the game to people who might not be as familiar. And So after I did the second character, which was Odette, I rolled completely randomly on the origin path chart for Rogue Trader, which I'll bring up, because I got it. Why not? Let's do this. Boom. Like that, which you should be familiar with if you play Rogue Trader. Here we go. Yeah, so what my plan is I rolled completely randomly for Homeworld and Birthright and nope, I also rolled completely randomly for the names because so I had that chart up as well. So I set up as I was going to do the ship next. I was going to do some world building for the Homeworld, and then I was going to do the ship. So my plan then was I started setting up a ship building stream. And I don't know if you're new to the channel, but I generally do either character creation or, in this case, ship creation, and kind of talk through the process. I'll do a lot of random rolls. Actually, if you want to see, I have this. I just haven't put it up here because a dice cam, because it blocks the Rogue Trader book. So I do random character creation and dice rolling, and let me bring up on so yeah, I do random character creation and dice rolling for both Rogue Trader and Pathfinder first edition, and sometimes other other games as well. I'm hoping to start doing other games as well, but so my plan for this stream, as of now, was to go and do the ship for so I was last session last time I did a Rogue Trader stream. What I did was I read through all the different things, and we got a sword class frigate, which is 1.6 kilometers long and 0.3 kilometers of beam. So not particularly large ship. Well, okay, it's very large, but not large in Warhammer 40k. It's not like a battle cruiser or a so yeah, 26,000. I wanted to make sure that wasn't technically less so. So yeah. So my plan. So it's got a speed of 8, which plus 15 detection, armor 18, 40 in terms of space, and then it's got plus 20, 2 dorsal weapons, and yes, absolutely. And a lot of times in Rogue Trader, I've been flying by my seat of my pants a lot with this. I do run a Saturday morning game of Rogue Trader for a bunch of players, and I have been, kind of rolling by this, like flying by the seat of my pants, in terms of coming up with how to run monsters, especially because a lot of the times when they encounter demons, I'm just kind of pulling statistics, and you really get a good sense for how to, if you're DMing, create a stat block as what's the most important things if you're not running up a full stat block for something quick to fight for the fight, which is in Rogue Trader, ballistics and or weapon skill, number of wounds, and armor, and that's pretty much all you need. And any crazy effects that the saliva or whatever might have, because I have them roll in a separate. I actually redid the warp travel table to include slightly higher chance of encountering demons, and did not add the bonus for the navigator because we don't have a PC navigator, so I thought that'd be kind of unfair, and it would. Aslar's good. She's an NPC, and I have full stats for her, but I hadn't been adding to the rolls because I wanted to create a higher percentage that nothing would go all right, because, more exciting, fun stuff happens in the warp. At least that's what I think. That's just my own experience as a DM. But, so what we're doing right now is, I do Pathfinder 1st edition and 5th edition, certain things. We are going to roll for a Machine Spirit Oddity and a, Past Histories. That's what the, plan was. So, I'll read a little about that, too, from the, here we go. All void ships have a story. Many are thousands of years old, and some were laid down when the Emperor led humanity on the Great Crusade. In that time, they have watched millennia of history come and go, see the tides of war ebb and flow, experienced hundreds of captains, thousands of crew. During this time, a ship is more than a collection of tech systems and armor plating. Any veteran voyageman knows a ship has its quirks and vagaries. Some vessels leap eagerly at the first hint of vandal, their drives burning hot and their auger rays probing eagerly. Others falter at danger, their systems shorting and spurting until the vessel turns tail and flees. Some ships are solid and dependable, their systems lasting long beyond their dates of operation. Others play tricks on their crew. Phantom returns, ghost in the aspects displays, and strange sounds whisper on the internal locks. Good voyageman knows the personality of his ship and treat it like another member of the crew. In the game, these are represented by the ship's complications, have benefits and detriments that make a ship unique. There are two different types of complications. Past histories offer details about a ship's construction or salvage and issues that may arise from its past. Machine Spirit Oddities describe strange personality quirks that the ship's machine spirits have picked up over the millennia. While not alive or even self-aware, anyone who has been aboard a starship will aware that they have desires and fears and perform some tasks more willingly than others. Before creating a ship captain should roll once on each chart to determine which complications the ship suffers from, and note down each on the ship sheet. So, we are, we're going to do, so, that, with that, I am going to roll on the table, and we're going to give the, this, ship. I still need a name for this ship. Sword class frigate. We'll come up with the quirks, and then if you have any suggestions for what you could name a rogue trader ship, because I'm not going to roll randomly for the ship name. That seems kind of crude, but I need, I always ask whatever I'm doing, I always ask people in the chat for suggestions. What should I call this thing? Because names are hard, and it helps to have someone else. So far, we have an Explorator who got press ganged by the Mechanicus, and Adet, who's a Voidborn who got dragged into war and now has become a arch militant. Both women, both straight. I have a whole chart I roll for that on too, because I like random rolling when I do character creations, because I'm probably never gonna get a chance to play most of these characters, so it's kind of fun to do different things with them. So my first roll is, let's pop up the dice tray, because whenever I roll randomly for stuff, I always put up the dice tray, so that if I do end up ignoring a roll, you'll know I am. Let's see. Everything on in Rogue Trader is on D10s or D100s. Occasionally a D5, which usually is taken as half a D10. Although I do have one physical D5 stashed away. Also, very important thing about storing your dice. is that they have to be highest side up. You when you stash them, you put them highest side up if you can. It just gives them better mojo. Although, I said last time I played with this particular setup, these dice they were not giving me good mojo. But, you know, it's fine. I was also DMing though, so it might have been that they, it might have been that they sensed that and were trying to help the players. But, oh, they also will bag for friendly NPCs, so I don't know what the deal with that is. Okay, so right now we pick a D10. Let's pick that one, and we put it, in here so that we can all see. And, let me do, this as well. Let me quickly, that. Okay, we are going to, roll D10, and then we're going to get a complication. Let's see this. Let's see what this ship is like. 7. Okay. Wrathful. Okay, this ship is mad about, this is Machine Spirit Oddities. Okay. So we'll go with the past history. So this ship is kind of just mad at the world, at everything. Just does not like being where she is. So explodes into berserker fury, straining and exhausting its simple systems. During combat, that we get a +1 speed and +1 speed and +7 maneuverability. But out of combat, -1 speed and -5 maneuverability. And detection. So it'd be a +10 out of I'm gonna put +10 out of combat. I have this. I always say that it's my most important tool as a world builder, as a creative, because if you have a really good idea and do not write it down, you will not have a really good idea anymore. I feel like I should be able to pull up some way of taking notes on the computer so that you can see what I'm typing and noting down. We're gonna have to work on that. I'm still learning streaming. My skills are not the best. I'm very much learning. And I'm certainly better than where I started at. And I do need a better mic, I know. But we are, we're doing what we do. So, okay, so there's this, and yes, so, okay, so ship is Wrathful. It's a sulky, annoyed teenager of a ship. Okay. Ooh, we got some fun stuff, interesting stuff could be on here. Okay, so the past history. Where does this ship come from, and why is she so mad all the time? Let's see. There's some fun ones. Okay, 1. That's pretty good. A reliquary of Mars. Somehow this vessel has been outfitted with ancient archaeotech systems from mankind's forgotten past. When constructing this vessel, players must select one Archaeotech component of their choice. However, any tech use tests to repair the ship do suffer a -20 due to the highly complex nature of the machinery. Additionally, the tech priests of Mars regard the vessel as holy, or at least having holy components. Some may petition a vessel. That. Yes. Okay, so don't you love it when you're like, okay, I'll randomly roll for this, and then you randomly roll and you figure out how to connect your like the backstory of an NPC you want to do or something to the what you rolled, so like the dice almost like know, or you're just like, oh, that's now we can work with the dice in the storytelling. Okay, so Reliquary of Mars. That's why there's an Explorator aboard the ship, and a not well-liked Explorator, because she wasn't supposed to be an Explorator, but they were running Archaeotech digs on this planet, and she was young and stupid, and, well, not stupid, naive. Think high intelligence, low wisdom, if you were playing a Pathfinder or D&D version. So she ended up getting roped into being part of the Mechanicus. But, that's why they sent her on the ship, is because it's a Archaeotech relic ship, which changes the dynamic, but it's a good thing. My plan is to create an entire crew for this ship. Because that's what I do world building and storytelling and character creation, and kind of create these characters statistically and mechanically, but also create the world in which they live, the story which they inhabit, and just kind of run with that. And Reliquary of Mars. Okay, what are the important... So we get one Archaeotech component, and I must select, which means I'm pretty sure that means we don't have to spend ship points on it, which is good, because I only got 60 ship points, although that's a lot more ship points than normally, because of reasons that might play into this if we, but yeah, so there's 60, they got a lot of ship points. Basically I started out with 100 ship points, which means better than average ship, so we don't have to spend on the, ship points for the Archaeotech component, but it does come with -20 on all repair tests. Repair tech use checks. That's what you use for repair. Okay. Tech use checks. And then the whole thing with the text priests of Mars. Okay. Of Mars has one component that's Archaeotech. Okay, so this is good. So we have a little bit of complication designed to personalize a starship, as well as make it something more than just a collection of statistics on a sheet of paper. A good captain thinks the ship is something alive, and will love and hate her, cajole, threaten, and praise in turn, just as he might any of his flesh and blood companions. If the GM wishes the player's starship to have specific personality, should free to select from the complication checks rather than having the player's roll. Additionally, past histories might suggestion for plot hooks and situations the player might find themselves in due to what happened to their starship before they came in possession of it. As far as the ship's personality, the machine spirituality should be treated as broad guidelines. GM shouldn't feel limited to the benefits and drawbacks listed in the charts, and feel free to come up with additional complications to fit the ship's character. Perhaps the vessel has a nose for trouble, occasionally scans nearby vessels if searching for weakness. Even if they are friendly, or a ship that is ancient and wise flares its retros on collision course with an asteroid, warning the helmsman in danger he did not notice. Of course, the ship is not sentient and will not strike up conversations with the players and send the messages telling what to do, but there should be some spark in its hull, a bit of something beyond a mere machine, which I think that's beautiful. Okay. Plasma drives. Essential components. Required for Starship to function, a ship must have one or more, no more component from each of the following categories, lest the ship lose some vital function. Without life sustainers, for instance, vessels nothing more than a cold and empty tomb, while the ship would be blind and deaf without the auger array. So there's that. So, yeah. So we got regulatory. Okay, so it's one component is Archaeotech. Let's see what components we have. What we could do is roll for an Archaeotech component. Sorry. That's the chart. So we got the bridge, the life sustainers, multiplied shield array. Okay. Plasma drives, warp engine, the Geller field, void shield, let me just check one thing. Let's... yes. Here we go. Archaeotech components. Archaeotech components. Ancient life sustainer, modified Jovian pattern class. Okay, so here's an interesting question. So we got one, two, so we got anything that can affect, so we got life sustainers. Check, so because class 2 drive, class 2 Jovian drive, Bridge of Antiquity, auto-stabilized Lotus target, or Telebut. Ooh. So there are 6 examples of Archaeotech components that fit the, that can be put onto frigates. And a D6 is a die type that we happen to have. So, to make things spicy, and because I love rolling randomly for lots of things, I kind of want to roll. I'm going to, this is what we're going to do. So, for life sustainer, 1 would be the ancient life sustainer. 2 would be the modified Jovian pattern class. 2 drives. 3 would be a Bridge of Antiquity. 4 would be auto-stabilized targeting. Would be 4. Bridge of Antiquity. What am I missing? Hang on. I might have miscounted. Teleportarium would be 5. Life Sustainer. Life Sustainer's 1. The Class 2 drive is 2. Bridge of Antiquity is 3. Okay, so it's only 5. So, there are 2 ways. I could get the D5 out. I could roll a D10. I'm going to roll a D6 and reroll 6s. Because sometimes that's the best way to do it. Yeah. So this will decide what Archaeotech component we have and why that is going to be, and that will affect how we put together the ship. So I got components here. We're going to roll for the Archaeotech component, and yes, so we're gonna, fudge. We're gonna roll, 5. Okay. We have a teleportarium. This is interesting. Let me see what it does. We've got it. Let's do it. So, teleportarium. We're gonna write this down. Okay, so let's see if Archaeotech components. Archaeotech is long lost from the Imperium as a whole, extremely valuable and efficient. These components should only be available if the ship has a Reliquary of Mars complication. The players earn them through warrant of trade, or if the GM makes them available through the course of the game. Modified drive, ship audio stabilized. Relics from the Dark Age of technology are highly sought after, able to send individuals instantaneously through the Immaterium to appear on a ship or planet many thousands of kilometers away. Characters may make hit-and-run attacks without piloting test as they travel directly to the heart of an enemy vessel. When using the teleportanium to perform such an attack, the attacker receives plus 20 to his command test. Oh, no wonder they sent an Explorador to may be used in any number of other ways, such as guaranteeing escape from sticky situations on a nearby planet at the GM's discretion. Okay. I like this. I'd probably rule that it only works well in the warp. Well, maybe. We'll see. Okay, so the first thing we gotta check on this is power is space and power. Because that's the 2 component pieces that we need. 1 and 1. So what space and power are basically how it works is we have out of 40 we have 1 so far. Basically any component takes up space, and we have 40 space worth of things that we can fit into this particular type of frigate. So we got to pick our choices carefully. a we're going to start with life sustainers. So so I'm going to start with life alright, we're going to start with the drive. Alright, I see how this goes. Alright, ship point and component costs. When constructing a starship, the player is limited by one other factor, the amount of ship points generated by rolling on the table. Basically, more ship keys a charter provides, the bigger and better equipped a player ship can be. When constructing a ship before beginning game, players only build as powerful ship as their total ship points allow. Hulls and certain components have a ship point value listed, and once the players have completed their vessel, the combined ship point total cannot exceed the ship point total generated by rolling. Essential components are, for the most part, an exception to the ship points rule and can be taken freely. Since each ship needs them, their cost has already been included in the hull cost. Certain specialized essential components do have ship cost points to represent their value and rarity. Any ship points left over after creating the starship can be added to the group's starting profit factor. That's pretty cool. However, the ship point limit only applies to ship's creation. Afterwards, players are only limited to which the components they can put in their ship by the ship's space and power and their available profit factor. Ship points have one other role to play. They determine how rare and thus how expensive components are in Rogue Trader. The chart below lists components availability based on how many ship points they cost. However, when determining acquisition thresholds required to acquire starship components, the GM should never give the players a bonus based on the scale. The threshold should only be determined by availability and perhaps craftsmanship. Good to know. Oh, based on scale. So scale is how basically when you're trying to do an acquisitions test for any, if you want to, the way Rogue Trader goes is if you want to acquire a thing, you have to make a check at the GM's discretion, since basically you have to make a check against your ship's profit factor. If you're trying to procure something simple, because Rogue Traders are so phenomenally wealthy, the exact amounts of thrones changing hand is often irrelevant. The numbers are just too big to matter. So what you get instead is profit factor, which is a combination of how wealthy Rogue Traders are, how many contracts they have kind of going, what fingers they have like investments in, stuff like that. And certain availability. So anytime you want to acquire something, what you can do is create a profit factor check against it. And the check is modified by the easiness of which it is to acquire, how well made whatever you're trying to acquire is, how many, one of the things you can do is scale. If you're only trying to acquire one of something, it's very much easier than trying to acquire 300,000 of something. And if the scale, and if the bonuses from all of that stack up to more than 100, then because you're rolling on a D100 to try to get lower than the target number, if it stacks up to higher than 100, you don't even have to roll. It's just, yeah, this is a thing that exists, which, for the most part, you say, okay, I want to buy, a stick of bubblegum because my character has, roleplay reasons to want bubblegum. It's, you're not going to have to roll against the ship's profit factor, because it's kind of understood that if you're on a planet that has a decent, any planet that has a decent industrial base will have this readily available, and if you're not, so it's so easy to get that it's irrelevant to think that if there was even a remote possibility you couldn't afford it. But what they're saying about ship scale for profit factor is that if you're trying to do a ship component, it doesn't matter how many you're trying to procure, because chip components are so rare anyway that the fact that you're only trying to procure one that doesn't make any difference. It's just, so, yeah. That is what we're doing. Okay, so, that's why they don't have any ship costs, because they're, all the beautiful. And I'm ignoring the ship point cost because, yeah, so I'm going to say, based on the fact that essential components don't have ship point costs, I'm going to say it's 20. They have 20 ship points left over from having their hull. I think that's a more fair assessment of how that works. So we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. Teleportation. Okay, so they got a teleportarium, 1-in-1 space and power. Now we're going to figure out the drive. I see how that goes. Okay, so we're going to go up and look at the chart again. So it seems, that plasma drives have, I guess they only have one option. Transports have multiple options, but frigates, like cruisers and raiders, they can only do Jovian. Lathe pattern drives are slightly better in generating. They generate slightly more power, but are only available to transports because they. Oh, wow, that's a lot of space. Okay, that makes sense. They take up a huge amount of space, so they are only available to transports. Okay, so I'm gonna. We're gonna go with that, I guess, because we don't get the Archetype version because we rolled for Teleportarium instead. So, Jovian pattern, class 2 drives, because we're a frigate. Fair. So, I'm going to put 40 up, and it takes up 10 space. Okay. So we've already got 11 of the 40 space taken up. But, okay. So we got warp engine. We also only have one type of warp engine. It depends on unless we get Archetype components or Xenotech components, we only have one option, which is the Strelov warp 1 or warp 2, depending on the size of the ship, which take 10 power. And 10 space on or frigate or 10 power 10 space. Noted. Okay. So our power space is 40 and 40. We get 40... oh, no, we get 45 power. Sorry, I misread that. We get 45 power and 40 space, which is useful for knowing. So once we get through the basics of what we've got, so Strelov, with the warp engine. Okay, so Gellerfield, we have two options. We can do a Warpsbane hull or a regular Gellerfield. Warpsbane hulls just okay. The entire hull of vessels covered with silver hand-inscribed hexagrammic wards. These reinforce the Gellerfield projected from a 50-meter statue of Imperial Saint located just forward of the bridge. Any navigation test to pilot the ship through the warp gains a +10 bonus. When rolling table, the GM rolls twice and allows the navigator to choose which result is applied. Now that is an interesting mechanic. That is an interesting mechanic. Yeah, any navigation test with a +10 bonus is always a beautiful thing, and it doesn't take up any more power or space. It just is, it'd be interesting to see who the saint was. Maybe that would be who they'd name the ship after if that were the case. And then, of course, we have to come up with this. If we invented one that wasn't already in Imperial lore, we'd have to come up with a story. I think that's a really cool thing. I'm gonna. For the +10 navigation bonus alone, because I tend to not let my players know which role is. Well, though that could be interesting. Way to do it. Interesting. Okay. +10 on navigation checks. And then roll twice and choose for warp encounters. I'll put a question mark next to it. I mean, it's less of a thing because I don't know if I'm ever going to run this ship in a game, but oh, okay, so that's what the, I was gonna say, I knew there had to be a reason the life sustainers, okay, this is good. Alright, let me look and see if, nope, well, okay, we're gonna go with Warpsbane hull, and the warp engine, okay, void shields, alright, void shields, well, we only have one option for void shields because we don't have a cruiser. Cruisers have an option to take a, more power, more, space one that probably provides all sorts of interesting benefits. We'll get to life singers now. Okay, so that's what that did. Okay, so sorry, single void shield array. And it's oh yes, Warpsbane Hull. So okay, so it takes up one. All right, Warpsbane Hull is 1 space, no power, but 2 ship points. So brings that down to an 18. Um, 18. Oh yes, so that okay, so that's one. Now the question is, it's power, not space, because it's on the outside. And the hull, and then the void array takes up 5 power and 1 space. So far we have 22 space and 17 power. Okay. Good. Okay, that's fair. And I'm very sorry. So interesting. So there's 4 different types of bridge. Now this is where it gets confusing, because we actually have, okay, we can't do a ship's master bridge because that's only on cruisers, but we have, we can't do a commerce bridge because and they all take up pretty much the same in terms of power and space. So I'm thinking, frigates. Command bridge just take up a little more power, and then there's the armored command bridge, which takes up a little more space. I'm gonna roll for type of bridge. I know it sounds silly, but I want to do more rolls. We're gonna see what kind of powerful sort of thing we can do. And because it's 3, so basically we had a combat. Commerce bridge is only available on transports. So a combat bridge, a command bridge, or an armored command bridge. That's 3 different options. And so I'm going to go with plus for combat, minus for armored, and then a blank side for command. So what we have here, for those of you who don't know, is a D3. So we got 2 sides with the plus symbol, 2 sides with the minus symbol, and 2 sides with the blank symbol. It's the same shape as a D6, but there are 2 different types, but it allows for rolling for D3s without having to do any division. And it's just pretty cool in general. So I usually store them plus side up because you put the highest side up. Although, as I've put together, options, let's roll for it. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's not going to help anyone. Minus. Okay. That's an armored combat bridge. Okay. This is interesting. With a wrathful ship that likes to fight, that makes sense. Armored combat bridge. Okay, for raiders and frigates, it takes 2 and 2. 2. That puts us up at 24 out of 40 space, and 10, 15, 16, 17, 19 out of 45 power. Okay. So I think we're gonna run out of space before we run out of power, but we'll see what else we can get. Then we got life sustainers. Whoa. And that is the last and arguably most important interesting. Auger arrays have different as well options. So I think we're going to roll for that. We're going to go with V-Day pattern life sustainers. Okay. Yep, so okay. For the ship's bridge, we got an armored combat bridge, which is 2 and 2. Then for the life sustainers, basically, you can get net ones, you can get good ones. We're going to get the good ones. Because the neo ones lower crew morale, and they also take up less space and less power, because that makes sense. But alright, we're going to do the good life sustainers and voidsmen as opposed to press crew. Which are the quarters. We're going to have good life sustainers and good. We're going to focus on morale. I'm just double checking on which is which. Power and space. So, first is power. Life sustainer is, for a V-Day pattern, is 4 power. And 2 space. Okay. And voidsman quarters, proper quarters for your voidsman, is 1 power and 3 space. To be fair, no, it takes up the same amount of power, but more space for better quarters for your crew. Worth noting. Okay. So far, for power and space, we got 20, that's 30, 32, 3 for space, and, 33 space. Ooh. 33 out of 40 space. So we're cutting it close, and luckily the sensors don't have any space take-ups. So, and then power, we got 10, 12, that's 17, 19, 24 out of 45 power. So we're good on the power. It's going to be the spaces that's going to get us. Auger arrays. I'm gonna roll, honestly, to see what kind of sensors we have, because I like rolling, and I want to, and they all have different, pluses and minuses. There's not one clear. And then we'll see what that does. Armored combat bridge. Okay, so we get V-Day pattern life. life support, or life sustainer rather, and voidsman quarters. Combat bridge. Okay, let me double. We're gonna check what the yeah. All right. How good are our sensors? I'm willing to gamble with our sensors. Let's do it. Okay. Let me check first what an armored bridge. The bridge of warships often reinforced with additional armor plating to ensure survival. If the opponent takes a critical hit, becomes endangered or unpowered, roll a d10. On a 4 or higher, the opponent is unharmed. So I kind of like that. Just an extra, nice little extra bonus. Okay. Alright, let's gamble with our sensors. The only change in how sensors work is the power level, so, and we got plenty of that, so let's do it. So I'm gonna go. So our options are the M100 auger array, the M201.B auger array, the R50 Auspex multiband auger array, or the Deep Void auger array. Multiband has some, it has some detection bonuses for farther things rather than closer things. The Deep Void auger array and the M201.B auger array basically just give flat detection bonuses to anything. The M100 doesn't, but I think that is reflected in the ship's plus 15 detection, but only plus 10 out of combat because the ship's a pissy teenager. Okay, let's do it. Let's see what kind of. So I'm going to go in order. They appear here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm rolling a d4. I'm going to roll this particular d4. So let's do it. Let's roll. 3. So we got R50 Auspex multiband. Okay. It's a 4 power. No space, luckily. Because they're externally mounted. Let's see. I think that gives us some interesting things. Auger arrays. Here we go. Stellar. Ooh, here's an interesting thing. So it's a -2 from the ship's detection, but +5 to maneuver tests. Long distance scan when working toward an exploration objective. Oh, okay. So this uses the objectives system, and you get a 50 achievement points for having just better scanners. Okay. Interesting. So, Auspex multiband. I'm gonna put +5 maneuver. Oh, but it's got -5 maneuverability. So that actually is probably necessary. -2 detection. So, yeah, as opposed to the M100. So, detection is down to plus 13 and plus 8 out of combat. Yeah. Okay, good to know. But the maneuver test makes up for it. So it's got, it depends on whether you think detection or maneuverability is more important, and which you need to compensate for more because your ship's pissy, you know? Alright, so macro batteries. That's supplemental. Okay, so far on power, so we had 33 out of 40 space used, and for power, let me just double check that. 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 29. I only have 29 actually. I might have miscalculated that. That might be important. Okay, so for power, we got 11. So we got 11, 12, 17, 19, 23, 24, 28. So 28 power, and I might be wrong about the space. Let me double check it, my math on this, because math is important. I'm so sorry. I am crashing hard energy level wise. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna recalculate the space. That's 20, 21, 22, 24, 26, 29. Yeah, so 29 out of 40. Still not a lot, but a little better. Okay, and I did start the stream. Okay, so we got dorsal weapons. So we get 2 weapons batteries, because we have 2 dorsal weapons. We can pick 2 weapons. Basically, if we want we can have macro cannons, better macro cannons that take up the same amount of space, but use more power. We can do a laser battery, or plasma battery, which takes up the same amount of space. Plasma battery takes up more power, though. More power, more ship points, but does more damage. Shorter range, though. So, shorter range, but more power. More damage, shorter range, but also more power and more ship points. Yeah, I would... Yeah, I don't think we can do lance batteries, lance weapons as a... Let's see. Can you mount a lance No, it doesn't specify where you can, um, oh, they also have a wider crit range. That makes sense. They do better on critical hits, essentially. That's why they're so... Oh, hey! Hey, hey, hello, hello! Welcome! I didn't even notice you guys had come. I was so busy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are building, a ship. So it's a sword class frigate. Rogue Trader here. Let me do the thing with the thing. Boom, 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 boom. There. Rogue Trader. Sorry. We have a ship we've built. So I need a name for this ship. A Warhammer 40k name. So something like the Emperor, or I don't know how much you know about Warhammer 40k. Naming them after saints is also acceptable. Oh, no. Not. I do have a few of those. I have a few ships of that sort. I remember one of the first characters I did was the Paladin and his wife, the Reformed Rogue. But yeah, and I definitely, some of my drawers were married couples. I think Briar was created specifically, and both Briar and Constellation were created specifically to be lovers of technical term, other characters, but no, this is a spaceship as sorts. Sword class frigate. It is 1.6 kilometers long. Yeah, kilometers. It's a huge, and 0.3 kilometers abreast, so not that. And crew of 26,000 individuals, give or take a few. And it has good acceleration, decent speed, and various stats that we are putting together. We also have 2 turrets and 2 dorsal weapons that we can hook up with weapons. So when we rolled, it's a temperamental ship. It's wrathful, which means it has the personality of a bratty teenager. It's got mad at everything and everyone. During combat, it's +1 speed and +7 maneuverability. But out of combat, it's -1 speed, -5 maneuverability, and -5 detection. So it can't. Yeah, it's really, wants to fight, basically, and just doesn't want to be useful in anything else. We got sensors, we got a teleportarium, which is super rare in this universe to have that. It's an ancient technology that's been lost to time, and having one is a big deal, which fits in. When I actually rolled for what Archaeotech component it was going to have, because when I rolled up for the ship's past, it was Reliquary of Mars, so it had some Archaeotech component, and I was like, oh, brilliant. So then I started looking into what they were, and I was like, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to roll for it, see what extra cool ancient component it has. Found the teleportarium, which is really cool, but also it mentioned in the lore that, the lore nuggets that get put in, that it makes the... What's the technical term? The Omnissiah's followers, the Adeptus Mechanicus, jealous and will be very interested in your ship. And I'm like, yes, that's why they put an Explorator on the ship. That's why they have an Explorator on their ship, is because the Mechanicus wanted to keep an eye on them. and because I'd already started rolling up 2 members of the crew, and then I was like, all right, they're all shipmates. Let's see if we could do. I was like, hey, we could do another character creation. When I was doing the last Warhammer 40k stream I did, I was gonna do. There was like, we could do ship creation, we could do character creation, or we could do Adette's home ship and where she came from in terms of world building. And I ended up on creating a ship and Experius Piranus. It does sound kind of old High Gothic-y, and it fits that has this weird tech that no one's seen ages. It's probably a stripped out hull that got put together, an ancient hull that's been put together secondarily and refitted with new parts. You know what? That sounds really cool. I'm gonna go with it. Let's do this. Experius Piranus. Okay. Check something very quickly about the so it's got, now we're gonna put weapons. Yeah. So after that, the ship has weapons. So I can do 2 dorsal weapons and 2 turrets, essentially. So I can do up to 4 weapons. But the only problem is that, oh no. Okay. The only problem with weapons is that what was I going to say about weapons? So what we got is space and power. There is only a certain amount of both resources when you're building a ship. There's also ship points, but that's when you're building up your ship, you only have a certain amount of space and power to put components in. That's hard limits on how big the ship is and how much power is generated by the engines. With the engines we have, we get 45 power and 40 space. Just putting in the necessary components, we did put better life sustainers than were strictly necessary, but that also improves quality of life for the crew and gives you morale bonus and better quarters. Same thing with the morale bonus and crew competency goes up. So with all of that, we have 29. That took up 29 space and 28 power. So basically, we can only have components that take up 11 space and 12 plus 5 is 17 power. So if we start putting weapons in, that'll take up space and power and to run. And that's the idea behind ship design in this thing, is that everything is a trade-off in terms of what you have and what you can and can't do, and they each provide all sorts of material benefits, and you can put them in twice, components like weapons, macro cannons, You can do I'm probably not going to do lance weapons. I think it's more batteries. So, do macro cannons or sun, which are way more powerful but take up more space and use more power. So, but they do more damage. Well, the Mars pattern macro cannons and the Sun Spear Lance Battery actually do the same amount of damage, but the Sun Spear Lance Battery has a way better range, and it's better at crits. So there's that. Also, same number of ship points though, so that's. Plasma batteries cost more ship points. Like I don't know what the. I mean, it's an extra +2 damage, which is pretty good, but. And the same amount of space, but they take more power. It's just a more powerful version of. And they have a shorter range, which I kind of think is a trade-off that you probably don't want to make. Yeah, so I think. I would say if we got two, we can have up to 4 weapons, 2 turret mounted and 2 dorsal. I feel like I want to put at least 1 of each. And I would put the higher range one as dorsal. Because if you higher range one goes in the back, which is the Sun Spear Lance Battery, and it's going to take up a lot of, this is a lot of, I'm going to put in a Sun Spear Lance, we're going to do this, we're going to do Lance Battery, and maybe macro cannons in the front. I think that would be a wise way to put it. So I'm going to do 1 of each. And then, I'm going to do 1 of each. Oh, laser battery. Sorry, not the lance battery. Laser battery. Sorry, my neck's not itchy. A laser battery, which takes 6 power and 4 space, plus 1 chip point. So that's 17. And a Mars macro cannon in the. I'm going to put the Mars. I'm going to put the slightly. Thunderstrike macro cannons take up less power, but we're not short power, short space. That wouldn't help anyone. And they do less damage, so. And have less. Mars pattern. We're getting the good ones. So the laser battery is. Turret. Okay. 6 power and 4 space. That brings that up to 33. And then the Mars pattern is 4 power and 2 space. 2 space. That's 35. So I have 5 space. We're not going to be able to put more weapons on. I have 5 space worth of extra components, and a how much power do we have left? 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, 23, 24. 29. That brings us up to 35. That's 39. So 39. So we get 6 more. So 5 space and 6 power. So we're not going to be able to put much in terms of luxury. Okay. Augmented retro thrusters. That's so you can put in and add to maneuverability, but that takes. All right, let's. Okay, here we go. So yeah, 2 ship points. That brings that down to 16. So we got plenty. It's we're. It's the space and power we're worried about. Extra cargo holds. We should probably put at least 1 cargo hold in. So that'll take 1 power and 2 space. Okay, that's fair. Or compartmentalized, which is 5 space. So that would be the entire rest of the ship would be cargo, and it wouldn't be able to. And then we could put thrusters to take the extra power to jump up the maneuverability. Well, what else do we got in terms of extra things we can put in? Oh yeah. Extended supply vaults. A librarium, so you could have a ship's library, extra supplies, temple, extra weapons, clever traps. Most of those just take 1 space, 1 power, so we could throw an observation dome. Doesn't even take any power, just space. Okay. So, yeah, we're not going to be able to get a. So I could do is compartment it. Yeah. What's the. Okay. Let's look at the cargo holds and see what. Oh, it's a -3 to maneuverability because you've been put. You put the cargo hold. You're basically setting up a cargo hold in one area of the ship instead of spreading out the cargo holds, which makes it take less power and space, but also makes the ship unbalanced and gives you -3 to maneuverability, which is okay. Maneuverability is +20, but -5 when out of combat. But hang on. Hang on. Detection. No, yes, but we get a bonus to maneuverability from. Yeah, I would say that go for the lesser cargo holds, because the maneuverability bonus is. It's not even that it holds more cargo, it just. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna do that then. Retrofit it like that. Cargo holds in a. Okay, so that takes 1 power and 2 space. So that's 1 power. That's 40 and 2 space. That brings us up to 37. So we have 3 space and 4 power worth of extra something we can put on. So 4 space. Yeah, no, that's not going to be. We don't have enough space for extended supply vaults. But I'm going to say a librarium. Honestly. Oh, and that's the reinforce. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say the cargo. Yeah, I'm going to say yeah, cargo. I'm going to say a librarian vault? Yeah, because I think that would be an important thing to have. You know what I mean? It just seems like a vibe. And we're not going to be able to do the extended supply vaults, which is the useful thing you really want, so. Yeah. Unit 2, 3. I mean, yeah, no, not extra. A librarian. That's 1. One power and 1 space. 38. -3 maneuverability. Right. And then we can do librarium. And we have 2 space. We could do. I'm gonna no. That wouldn't. You know what? I think that's it. No more. Well, okay. No, that's 3 space. No, for. That's exactly 2 space and 1 power. So, that's perfect. It makes 43 out of 45 power, which gives us some wiggle room and makes it full 40 space. And so 10 maze, which does has mechanical benefits. The librarian is just a library. Doesn't, other than having a library on your ship, which I mean probably does certain useful things. Like having a library is just important, and what does it do? +2, 10 on all command. Oh. That is incredibly useful in combat. So, +10 on command against boarding actions. And choose crit location. basically, if someone scores a critical hit, instead of the attackers choosing where they want to hit, you get to choose where you want it to hit. So you can pick which one least complicates your thing. What is the I feel like the librarian gives us some plus 10 on all investigation checks. So if you want to find something out, you get a plus 10 because you're, have a library on your ship. And it's just cool. And that perfectly uses up everything. There's 2 extra power in case needed, but dang. Alright, so that's a ship. Well put together ship. So we got the Experius Piranhas, and we got her all put together. She's looking good. So we got her put together, then we got 2 crew members so far. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm gonna have to start my new streaming schedule tomorrow because I have to I start work tomorrow. Basically, I have a new job and I start work tomorrow. So we are putting we're putting that together, which means yeah, tomorrow I have work tomorrow. First day on the job. We'll see how it goes. I'm probably going to stream sometime in the afternoon because I start work at 5:30. So I don't know when I get off. So we're going to go from there. Yeah, but that's how we're going to play it, I guess. Yeah, thanks for joining in on the epic shipbuilding thing. Tomorrow, if I stream, I'm going to do Pathfinder, because I said Tuesday and Thursday for the Rogue Trader one, so I've been saying that, so I think I want to keep up with that, because I think that's a pretty cool setup. Thursday, we're going to have to move the stream up to much earlier in the day, and there'll be other stuff going on. So, yeah. We'll see how that goes. Oh, Wednesday's Kayla's... You know what we're going to do? We're going to raid into... That's how we'll play it. That makes sense. Three, which means... Yep, okay, that makes sense. So we'll start it a little earlier. Yep, okay. Thank you for coming to my stream, by the way. Always appreciate you guys showing up. Alright, and tomorrow I'm going to stream during... Probably, I'm going to start streaming on... I'm going to start streaming during the day, during the week, because I have work at night. Like, either late night, depending, or during the day. We'll see what time I get off. I don't know yet, actually. Basically, it's like, whenever work's done, you get off. And I'm like, alright, well, that helps, I guess. But, yeah, I will see you guys. Good night. I want to check one thing. Should I... Nah, no one's up. That's important. We're not going to do that. Alright. Good night.